Hey guys, let's talk speculation comics. Let's start. Ladies and gents, Rob here. So I was going through some of my books and I noticed that a bunch of them that I talked about that are worth getting are going up. There are a couple that I have here that are still moderately priced. I think they're worth getting. And a couple of them actually have gone up more than I thought. So let's talk about it. Okay, this first comic I have here is The Pulse, Marvel The Pulse, issue 11. If you look here, it has the first cover appearance only. In issue 13 is her first full appearance as a baby in issue 13. Anyway, Danielle Cage is an interesting character. She's the daughter of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. Now, she has a couple of appearances as an adult in alternate realities. One reality, she was Captain America. In another, she was Thor. So that tells me we're probably going to see her in the future as some kind of hero. Anyway, this book could be had for about $10 or less sometimes. And the same thing with issue number 13. So I think I saw a pair sell for about 30 bucks. So if you see this book in the dollar bin or cheap, it might be worth picking up. Okay, the next comic I have here is What If? Spider-Man vs. Wolverine. And this is the first appearance of Assassin Spider-Man. Now I know this is a stretch as far as speculation goes. Will we ever see Assassin Spider-Man? I don't know. I'd love to see him though. The character is really fascinating. It's a really good story too. If you get a chance to get this book for $5 or $10, the book sells for about $10 by the way. It's a really good story. And will we ever see his character? Don't know. Is this a good speculation comic? I don't know, but I like it. Hey, if you ever consider selling a comic collection, you might want to consider Infinity Comics. They'll buy collections large or small, and sometimes individual books. And if you do contact them, tell them your pal Rob sent you. This next book is obviously a good spec, and that is Spider-Verse 1. The first appearance of Spider-Zero and a couple other Spider characters too. Now that being said, this book could be had, I think it goes for about $10 or $15 now. It used to be a $5 book, but it's since gone up. If it turns out that Spider-Zero is Miles Morales' sister, you know, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, okay, this book will be insane. Now there's some variants that are worth looking at too. There's the Walmart variant, which is pretty cool. That one goes for about, $15 or so. And then there's also some other variants. There's a Patrick Brown variant that goes for about, $30 or $40 to $1 in 25. That's worth getting too. But anyway, I love this book. I have lots of them. I'm gonna keep buying them as long as I find them cheap. This book is an excellent spec, in my opinion. This book, I think, is also another good spec book here. Guardians of the Galaxy, issue 5. First full appearance of Angela, who used to be in the Spawn universe. We all know that. She's now in Marvel, and she's Thor's half-sister, I believe. Anyway, her first cameo is in Age of Ultron 10, which is an excellent book. There's also a couple of variants with that one too. But this is her first full appearance. This is the Scotty Young cover. I know Scotty Young is not everybody's taste. That being said, there's other covers to get to. And I think we're gonna see Angela sometime in the near future in the MCU. This book can be had for $10 or so. If you see this one, I recommend you find it. If you can find it in the dollar bin, probably grab a couple copies. If your comics need to be pressed, I recommend Basement Comics. I've used them for a long time. They've been around for years. They have a fast turnaround time. And if you do contact them, tell them Rob sent you. Okay, then we have the comic Batman 357. This is the first appearance of Jason Todd, and I believe an early appearance of Killer Croc. Anyway, Jason Todd, who died in the very famous Death in the Family storyline, and also came back as the Red Hood, or a character who's going to be popular in the DC universe. Good book, good spec. It's always been popular. This book runs for about $60 to $80 raw, in good shape. a lot more, 9.8. I think 9.8s probably go for, $300, $400 or so. So you see this one, and it's like very fine near mint at $60. I'm gonna buy it. All right, to continue with this Batman theme, I have Batman 437, a book I'm sure a lot of people who are in the comic world know about. This is the first appearance of Tim Drake, who becomes the third Robin. It's also, I believe, in the current Teen Titans series as a Robin. So this book could be had for about $10 or so. And this book is a black cover, and I believe in 9.8 goes for some good money. Anyway, it's a book you can still find dollar bins sometimes. And for a couple of bucks, Tim Drake is not a bad pick. This next book I like a lot. Strange Tales 158. I can still find these books in like VG fine condition for like under $50. I think I found one, I have a couple of these. I think I found one like roughly the same condition for about $15. For those who don't know who this character is right here, I'm sure most of you do. This is the first appearance, or first full appearance, of the Living Tribunal, one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. He's probably top 5, I believe. A character who we probably will see at some point, whether it be animated or in live action. Living Tribunal. The first appearance is 157, but it's a cameo, and the cover is not very extraordinary, and it's a lot cheaper, which is still worth getting, by the way, though. See this book for $50, because I believe mid-grades, graded go for over $100. The Silver Age book, it's a really good-looking red cover. This is a really good spec book, I think is worth getting. Now this next book here, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 6, second printing. This is the first appearance of Starling. Starling is I guess at this point, an adversary of Miles Morales' Spider-Man. And she's also the granddaughter or great-granddaughter of the Vulture. Okay, now this book here is, I'm not sure where the print run is, but this book will run you nowadays, I believe, about $30 or $40. Now I was telling everybody when this book was, covered at $10 is worth picking up. Well, those days are over. I still think it's a good get. I do think that the A cover, first printing, is actually a better cover than this, but this might be a shorter print run than that one. And this book is still an excellent spec at $30. If you find this for $30 or less, I suggest it's a really good spec. This next book here, I get a lot of grief over from a particular person, Franco, about talking about this book a lot. It's one of my favorite comics. It's a character who we're seeing more and more now. But anyway, the comic is Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers, issue number 1. It's a miniseries 1 through 4. And it's the first appearance and first full appearance and origin of Throg, the Frog of Thunder. Now there's Thor Frog of Thunder. That's where Thor gets turned into a frog by Loki. This is one where Thor meets a frog who used to be a human named Simon Walterson. Anyway, he got turned into a frog, and then when I think he picked up a shard of Mjolnir when he met Thor, a piece of the metal from the hammer, and he turned into Throg. I guess he was worthy. Apparently Donny Cates is going to be incorporate him into the current Thor storyline, so this book has gotten popular. And I think there's a chance we may see Throg in the MCU at some time in the hopefully near future. Anyway, this book could be had at one time for $10 or so. I think I've bought a couple of them for that price, and I'll still buy them at that price. But right now I'm looking at it's going for about $40, so it's kind of expensive. I was telling people when it was at $10 to buy it, but those days are gone too. And there's also a second print here I have. This one's actually still a little bit cheaper. This one you can find for about $25 to $30. So there's also a cool variant that you can find for, I think it's about 40 plus. It's got it's a cool Thor variant with Throg. These are still some of my favorite spec books. If you see them for $10 or less, you should probably get one. I hope you guys like the comics. I'll see you soon.
I wrote this one up for breakfast, gave you my life story, told you from my perspective, reflected on all my demons, invited you to dissect it. Can't prove it's a higher power, if so just know I'm connected, but still I feel disrespected. It's likely you'll never hit us. Your homie knows I'm the won't tell you because they fit us, won't share this until it's trending. All my transactions pending, all my